How to find hope when life seems unbearable. Does it feel like you're carrying an impossible weight right now? Like you're just fighting to get through the day, and hope feels like a word that belongs to someone else? I know that feeling of being completely lost in the dark. But I also know that even in the deepest darkness, it's possible to create your own light. In this video, we're not going to talk about empty positive thinking. We're going to walk through 5 real, practical things you can do today to find some relief and start building a path forward, even when life feels unbearable. The problem deep dive. Let's be real about that feeling of being crushed by life. It's more than just a bad day or a tough week. It's a state of being where the future looks empty, and every single effort feels huge and pointless. Psychologists call it hopelessness, and it can create a tunnel vision where all you can see is the pain you're in right now. It's the belief that your struggles are permanent, that they define you completely, and that they're all your fault. This mindset is paralyzing, making it feel impossible to even think about solutions, let alone act on them. When you're in that place, the world feels like it's moving on without you, and you're just stuck behind an invisible wall. You might feel deeply alone, even when you're surrounded by people. This isolation can make the hopelessness grow, creating a vicious cycle where the pain feeds the loneliness, and the loneliness feeds the pain. It's important to just first acknowledge that this feeling is real, it's heavy, and it is exhausting. Resilience isn't about never feeling this way. It's about what you do when you find yourself here. It's about understanding that while your feelings are valid, they aren't facts, and they do not have to be your forever. The future isn't some fixed destination. It's something we can influence, one small step at a time. The pivot. I know that when you're in that state, hearing someone say, "just be positive," isn't just unhelpful. It feels like a slap in the face. It ignores the reality of the weight you're carrying. So this isn't about pretending the darkness doesn't exist. This is about learning to navigate through it. Hope isn't some magical feeling you just wait for. Hope is an active choice. It's a practice. It's a set of actions you take, especially when you don't feel like it. The strategies we're about to cover aren't about erasing your pain, but about building your capacity to carry it and move forward with it. They're about giving you back a sense of agency, a little bit of control in a situation that feels completely out of your control. So let's not wait for hope to find us. Let's go out and build it together. Section 1. Strategy 1. Seek help and connect with others. All right. The first and maybe most important thing you can do when life feels unbearable is to break the silence. Hopelessness absolutely thrives in isolation. It grows in the quiet, dark corners of our minds, where it convinces us we are totally alone in our struggle. But the simple act of voicing your pain can immediately start to shrink its power. Reaching out is an act of courage and a vital part of being resilient. This doesn't mean you have to pour your heart out to everyone. It can start small. A trusted friend, a family member, a teacher, a spiritual leader. The goal is just to let one other person into your experience. When you say the words, "I'm not okay," or "I'm struggling" out loud, you pull the pain outside of you, making it something separate that you can actually look at and deal with. Often, the person you tell won't have the answers, and that's okay. Their job isn't to solve your problems, but to listen without judgment and remind you that you are not a burden. That connection is healing all by itself, and if you feel like you have no one to turn to, or the weight feels too heavy for those around you, there are incredible resources out there. Crisis lines and support groups are staffed by people trained to listen and help you navigate these exact feelings. Sharing what you're going through with people who've been there can be incredibly validating. It shatters the illusion that you're the only one who has ever felt this way. There's a reason therapists emphasize this so much. Connection is what fuels hope. Section 2. Strategy 2. Find optimism by recalling strengths and reasons to live. When you're in despair, your mind can feel like an archive of every failure and all your pain. It has a negativity bias, replaying your worst moments on a loop. To fight this, we have to intentionally become archivists of our own strengths and our reasons for living. This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about finding a balanced perspective. Start by looking backward. Think of a time you overcame a hardship. It doesn't have to be some huge crisis. Maybe it was a tough exam, a painful breakup, or just a period of deep uncertainty. What skills and strengths did you use to get through it? Did you use your persistence, your creativity, your sense of humor, your ability to ask for help? Write these down. Seeing them on paper is a powerful reminder that you have a history of resilience. You've been through hard times before, and you have what it takes to do it again. Next, create what some people call a hope kit. This can be a real box or just a folder on your phone. Fill it with things that bring a little glimmer of light into your life. Photos of people you love, letters from friends, quotes that inspire you, or a list of things you're proud of. Also include a list of your reasons for living, big or small. Maybe it's being there for your pet, wanting to see your favorite band next year, the feeling of the sun on your face, or a promise you made to someone. When you're in a moment of intense hopelessness, your mind won't easily recall these things. Having a hope kit does the work for you, giving you immediate proof that there is still good in your life and a future worth sticking around for. Section 3. Strategy. 3. Change perspective on your struggles. The story we tell ourselves about our problems has a huge impact on how hopeless we feel. When life is unbearable, we often see our struggles as personal, pervasive, and permanent. This is all my fault. Personal. My whole life is ruined. Pervasive. And it's never going to get better. Permanent. This pattern of thinking is a direct path to despair. The third strategy is to actively challenge and reframe these thoughts. Start by externalizing the problem. Most situations are complex, with many factors outside of your control. If you lost a job, it's easy to think, I failed. A more balanced view might be, the company was restructuring and my role was cut. This isn't about dodging responsibility. It's about seeing the whole picture and not shouldering blame that isn't yours. Next, challenge the idea that the problem is pervasive. One negative event doesn't have to poison every other part of your life. Take a painful breakup. It's easy to feel like your whole world is gone, but you can challenge this by listing the parts of your life that are still solid. You still have your friends, your hobbies, your job, your health. By containing the problem, you stop it from casting a shadow over everything. Finally, and most importantly, challenge the permanence. Ask yourself a simple but powerful question. And then what? If you're terrified of failing an exam, ask, and then what? Well, I might have to retake the class. And then what? I'll have to adjust my schedule, but I can still graduate. By following the chain of events, you often realize that the catastrophe you're picturing isn't the only outcome. Even the tough outcomes are usually a series of manageable steps. not a final dead end. This changes the story from "this is the end" to "this is a detour." Section 4. Strategy 4. Attend to emotions and stay present. When we feel overwhelmed, our minds love to time travel, either dwelling on past mistakes or freaking out about the future. This is exhausting, and it fuels both anxiety and depression. This strategy is all about pulling your attention back to the only moment you can actually control, right now. This is the heart of mindfulness. First, just name your emotions without judging them. Instead of getting swept away by a wave of anxiety, just pause and say to yourself, "I'm feeling a lot of anxiety right now." This simple act creates a little bit of space between you and the feeling. It reminds you that you are not your emotions. You're the one experiencing them. Allow the feeling to be there without needing to immediately fix it. Sometimes, just sitting with the pain honestly is what builds quiet strength. Once you've named the feeling, ground yourself in the present moment using your 5 senses. What are 5 things you can see right now? 4 things you can physically feel: the chair under you, the fabric of your clothes. 3 things you can hear. 2 things you can smell. 1 thing you can taste. This exercise forces your brain to disengage from abstract worries and plug back into physical reality. It's an anchor in a stormy sea of thoughts. This practice is really about one day at a time, or even one moment at a time. When the future feels like too much, just focus on getting through the next hour, or even the next 5 minutes. Simple, absorbing tasks like organizing a drawer, doing a puzzle, or just listening to a piece of music can do the same thing, giving you a temporary break from intrusive thoughts and a much-needed sense of control. Section 5. Strategy 5. Focus on small actions and self-compassion. In the face of overwhelming despair, the idea of making big life changes is so daunting it can lead to doing nothing at all. The antidote is to think small, radically small. This final strategy is about building momentum through tiny, manageable actions and treating yourself with the kindness you'd give a friend. Instead of focusing on fixing your life, just focus on one small thing you can do right now. If getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain, then celebrate just sitting up. If showering feels impossible, celebrate just brushing your teeth. These are not pathetic achievements. They are acts of profound defiance against hopelessness. Celebrating these small wins is so important because it gives your brain evidence that you can still do things, which directly fights the belief that you're helpless. Alongside these small actions, you have to practice self-compassion. That inner critic is always loudest when we're at our lowest, telling us we're weak or worthless. You have to actively talk back to that voice. Ask yourself, would I ever talk to a friend who was suffering this way? Of course not. You'd offer them warmth, understanding, and encouragement. Offer yourself that same grace. Acknowledge that you are doing the best you can in a ridiculously hard situation. Control what you can. You may not be able to control the economy, a health diagnosis, or how other people act, but you can control whether you drink a glass of water, step outside for 5 minutes, or go to bed on time. These little routines create stability when life feels chaotic. They are small anchors that, over time, give you the strength to face the bigger storms. Conclusion. We've walked through 5 strategies to help you find your footing. Seek help and connect with others. Recall your strengths and reasons for living. Change your perspective on your struggles. Stay present with your emotions. And focus on small actions and self-compassion. Remember, Finding hope isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous practice of choosing actions that build resilience, one moment at a time. It won't always be easy. There will be days when it feels like you're starting over. But you are not starting from scratch. Every small step you take, every time you reach out, every moment you choose self-compassion, you are building a foundation of strength. The darkness you feel is real, but so is your capacity to endure, to adapt, and to heal. You matter, and your story is not over. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this was helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more on building a resilient and meaningful life. I'd love to create a community of support in the comments below. Please share. What is one small thing that helps you find a glimmer of hope on a tough day? Your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Take care of yourself.